Hello, welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. Yesterday we got a cursor working for our inventory system. So we've got this little blinky cursor here, and we can not select anything just yet, but we do have a little cursor that locks us into our grid here. So it's the first step of our inventory system. So I think we need to do some further testing, right? So I might be making a secondary item to put in here. I'll probably leave some of the spaces blank. And then we'll try to figure out how to trigger equipping something. So that's probably on the docket today. We could either do that or we could work on the toggle, which is there's also if we hit B, hitting A will select whatever's on the cursor to be in the item slot, but if you hit B, it'll swap over inventory grids so that you can equip different key items. So we've got to do that too. Maybe we'll just work on the items slot first and then see what we learn, and then because if it turns out that we have to do stuff differently to equip things, then at least we would know that for the key items moving forward. So let's start with this. Like, can we hit A on a certain grid and move that very item down to the B equipped slot? If we can do that, then we'd have to take that equipped item into the play state and have our character have it be known that that item is equipped for our character on the B button. And then if you hit enter again, it would have to take it into the pause state and remember, okay, well, we have the B equipped as well as the current inventory memory. So there's a lot going on, but I think we can do it. I think the first thing I want to do is give us a different item. So I know we've got like this little baggie here. Let's make like a little berry, I think. So there will be like little berries in the game, I'm thinking. So we'll just make like a little blueberry. Doesn't really look like a berry, huh? Gotta make it more round. Doesn't really look like a berry, huh? I don't know. Doesn't look like a berry. Hey, what's up, K-Tronics? Yeah, I've been house sitting for a friend, so I worked all day today and then, got home or I had to go watch the kiddies and then get home and cook dinner. So it was a late stream these past couple days because there's a lot going on. I'm just low energy, I think, you know, just tired. But feeling okay. It's tough, dude. The daily grind is, it can get to you. Like, I never regret it once I do it, but it's almost always a struggle. Does this look like a berry at all? K-Tronics? It's supposed to look like a berry. Yeah. Yeah, no, like I said, like I never regret it when I do it, and looking back, you know, I love that I'm doing it. It's just the resistance is always there, you know? Like I'm always fighting it. This is weird, man. I'm gonna start from scratch. I don't like this. Yeah, I mean, do you, K-Tronics, do you consider yourself a artist or creative? Nice. That's cool, dude. That could be really cool. I know you're making some unique stuff already with that. Yeah, no, I definitely think you do. Definitely. I think I just bring that up because I wanted to recommend a book called The War of Art, if you've ever read or heard about that. That's my favorite book. This is looking more berry-like. Yeah, that looks like a berry. I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'd say the War of Art is maybe 70% responsible for me doing my daily grind. Yeah, probably about 70%. I think yeah, the sheen is too much. We'll leave it here. It's just a placeholder anyway. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I totally believe you. That's cool. So maybe she's got some synesthesia going on. Yeah, when I was young, I wanted to be one thing that was an artist scientist. Like I thought it was, you know, like I wanted to make my Super Nintendo a robot that could act out the video games. So it's like I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a scientist but an artist. And then it turns out like programming is basically scientist artist. So so I think my inner child was spot on with that. Look at Jimmy stretching out. But yeah, I highly recommend War of Art. if you're into it. It's a super quick read. You could read it in a day for sure. I reread it maybe like... I'm due for a reread. I usually read it every year. That's so cool. Yeah, that's so cool. Everyone's brain's different. But that is so cool that she can kind of make those connections. Shoot. Okay. Well, we've got a little berry here. One thing I did notice is on my Mac, the item, the baggie of item that we've got rendering here was pixely. Because I think we didn't set the interpolation for it. I don't know what it's called. Because normally we have let's see, in our item class. See, we're doing it differently with our bag here as a self.image. We should do it just like we do our other ones. Because this set default filter, this is what prevents it from being pixely on a Retina display. I guess in general, just sets the blending mode or whatever. So we do need we're gonna have a bag. I don't know what's in the bag. But I'm thinking like in Link's Awakening where he had that bag of like magic dust, we can figure something else to pull in. Okay. Well, that's kind of good for what you do, right? I mean, you have to be kind of on top of the order of doing things, and that makes sense. I feel like you're well tailored to programming too, because it's you kind of have to be a little OCD to program, right? Because type, case sensitivity really matters, and complex things that you have to kind of remember and sort in your head. Nice. That's really cool. My PS3 broke. I had the Gen 1 PS3 and it broke, and I took it apart to try to fix it myself. And by the time I put it back together, I had like 6 extra screws. I was like, probably not needed, right? Probably not needed. It'll work. Did not work. Okay, we've got a bag of quad now. I'm thinking... So we should have a G-frame at index bag of our quad here now. So we should be able to say... global frames. Index bag. And hopefully that is the drawable. Uh-oh. We forgot a comma. Uh-oh. Okay, G-frames and nil value. Where is our dependencies in our... I guess we should have... Okay. Yeah, we don't have... Shit. I think we need our images before. Oh, this is weird. Oh, we are doing... Okay, Yeah, this does make sense. It's just that by the time we're requiring our... Yeah, let's do this. Let's take out... We won't have it in our global texture. We will just require it sooner. Just, I mean, for now, it's because these are all required. I guess we could... There's so many things going on right now. Like, I think for right now, we'll literally just give ourselves a bag, a global bag, and it's the new image here, and then we'll be able to just import it. By the time we finalize these things, we can import them. It's just that we don't need quads because it's literally just one drawable, so we don't need to be doing that stuff, but we do need it declared before our item class. So in our item 6, where is it? Yeah, this can just get bag here. Hey, Chompy Choco. Welcome in. Good to see you again. I can see that, Katron. I can see you doing that. Dude, you should check out... You should really check out the game Shenzhen.io. It's that electronic programming game. I think you could really like that. It's a steep learning curve, but it's really cool. It's really cool. I think you'd like it. Especially if you're in your brain visualizing these circuits and stuff, dude. Yeah, you would be perfect for this game. Okay, we do have our bag. So let's try to get a berry now. We'll say in our init here, we'll have like an option as a parameter, and if the option is equal to bag, we can assign our bag, otherwise berry, just so we can get different items in there. And we don't have a global berry, so we'll make sure we give it over here. Okay, cool. So they turned into berries because we didn't give it the option. Yeah, Katron, it's called Shenzhen.io. Shenzhen, like the, what is it, a province in China? Shenzhen.io. Yeah. See, look at the gameplay. It's literally just these circuits. Yeah, I think you'd really like it. It's really cool. It's like super cool. I will have to say, like, you have to like actually learn the stuff. Like it comes with a manual, like a 20-page manual, like schematics for the programming language. And you kind of have to basically look at that in order to know what the hell's going on. But it's really cool. I was thinking about streaming that at some point because that's like a programming game I could kind of stream. So I was thinking about maybe doing it, but also it's super hard. So I'm like, I think I'm on like the 5th level, and it gets tough. Like it gets really tough, but it is really cool. Okay, we've got a berry. So let's give us a couple of different things for items. We can give a couple bags and a couple berries. And you know what? We can also pass in the quantity too. And we can say quantity gets quantity or 20. If we don't give it a quantity, it gets 20. Let's see if it just gives us 20. Okay, cool. So let's go to our inventory system, or it might be in our play state, where we're actually, or a pause state rather. No? I'm looking for where we place our items right here. So look, we place an item. We could put something like bag in for all of these, so that all of them would become bag, and we could now put 10 if we wanted all of them to have a quantity of 10. So that's cool. So maybe we'll put bag 12, but then we'll take out a couple of the items so that they're not all populated, right? So we can say, let's take out 1, 2, and 1, 3, and 2, 2. Let's just see what that looks like. Okay, so yeah, we took out a couple of things. Let's give some of them, we'll make some of them be berries. So let's make like the first and last one be a berry or something. So the 1, 1, and we'll do 3, 2 to be a berry. 1, 1, and 3, 2 to be a berry. So we'll say the grid and 1, 1. Now we have to do a third index here to go into the first item in that grid, which will be an item object. And we will say that image gets... How would we do that? Yeah, it gets berry. Just like that, I guess. So let's see if it changes the first one. Okay, first one's a berry. So ideally we have like a type, because I don't like the idea of just rendering what the thing is. Like the object itself should know what type of thing it is, and what type of thing it is decides what to render. You guys might get a video of Jimmy pooping here in a bit. He's in prime poop position. Okay, so then we'll do 3, 2, also a berry. Hey, it's only natural, right? It's only natural. Everybody streams themselves defecating every once in a while. I guess people's roommates always stream each other's poop, right? I know mine do. I know Jimmy's does. Okay, so we've got a little inventory system. We're able to do little things like change our cursor. We don't have the ability to select anything. So how would we do that? We want to do, in my mind, what ideally I would like to happen is that our cursor can only be moved. Well, so like for like this example, I don't want the player to be able to hover over something that isn't there. Well, it's hard to say. Let's say that, because basically what I want to avoid is like if there was something in the top left and there's something in the bottom right, I don't want the person to have to be like, oh, I want to equip the thing in the bottom right. 1 button press, 2, 3, 4, 5 button presses, and then a select. That's 6 button presses just to equip the only other item that's in there, you know? So I kind of want it to be like, oh, if there's another thing in there, it'll just navigate to it. Like the cursor can only be on items that are in there. But I don't know how I feel about that, now that I'm thinking about it. Especially because I'm not planning on giving the player ability to reorganize their inventory. So if I'm not letting them reorganize it, then I have to decide where inventory items go in the grid. And what would make sense is that it just fills up like a book from left to right, top down, or whatever. And then, yeah, see, and I don't like that. Like, I guess you wouldn't need to move your cursor down below the first, like, let's say we only have 3 items and it's these 3. These would all be empty, but that's okay because they're not going to be moving their cursor down there to not do anything with an item that isn't there. So I guess it makes sense, and we'll just fill it out like a book, left to right, top down. And then, so what needs to happen is a couple of things needs to happen here. Like, we need to have a reference to what, if any, item is currently equipped in our B slot. And if there is an item equipped in our B slot and we detect an A button press, and it's an A button press over a grid that has an item, then we need to essentially just swap those 2 items. The item under the cursor goes into the B slot, the B slot comes out into the inventory, and then we have to carry it over back to the play state. So maybe we can add a little flag for our item to be whether or not it's B slot equipped or item equipped. So we can give our item class an item equipped. They all start out as not equipped, but if you hit enter on one, it becomes equipped, and then we take whatever is equipped, if any, and move it back to the inventory slot upon which you clicked. Yeah, I don't know why I thought the inventory system would be simple. I really don't know why. But we're getting there. At least, like, you know, someone would be able to tell it's an inventory system, so that's good. I mean, the numbers and the grid, I guess, give it away. So let's go into our item class, and we'll make sure we have a equipped. Okay, now we need to do some special rendering. We are rendering it at a self position. If actually this is what we want. This is if we're not equipped, if the item itself is not equipped, then we want to render it like we've been. But if it is equipped, then we want to render it at the equipped location. So we would say love.graphics draw. We want to draw what we are. So self.image at not self-x, but what is it? Virtual or screen height limit? No, it would be virtual height minus, let's just say 16. So it would give us sitting at the bottom. That is actually our X. So we need our virtual, actually we would just need something like 10 pixels or something on our X. And then our Y would be our virtual height minus 16, which is the height of an item. So if we are equipped, we're going to render it there. So let's go back to our inventory, and we'll make one of our items equipped here. So we'll say, you know what, this berry at 3.2 is going to be equipped, and hopefully it'll render down at the bottom because it's equipped. Okay, it did. It didn't render the inventory or the number, but see how it's rendering the number back at the self location, because that's how we're telling it to. So we can just pair the quantity render with the equipped condition. So let's put this in our if not equipped, go ahead and render it here. But if it is equipped, we want to render it basically at, and let me see, I want to see where the where we want to move. The Y looks fine, the X could be maybe double. So this can be maybe 20, which means that we would do a 20 here, a 20 here, and then this would be a virtual height minus 16. Okay, yeah, the number is just way off. The Y, let's take out that. Let's see. Okay. I mean, that's okay for now, I guess. This is just a placeholder. We're not really worried about this just yet. But we're able to equip items now, which can, all that really does is literally render it where we are, but it didn't move it. So what we really want to do, yeah, because if we were to ask, hey, is there an item at the first index of 3.2, our game would say, yes, there is an item right there. It would just says, oh, since it's equipped, we're going to render it down here. But that's not what we want to happen. We want our game to say, oh, if this thing is toggled equipped, it is taken out of the grid it is normally in, and it literally gets moved to the equipped location. So how would we do that? It's like we've got what an equipped location might look like. You know, we've got this yeah, we need to literally move the piece. So I think regardless of if the item is equipped, it should render at its own location, right? It's just that we either need another table in our grid to stand for the item slot that is equipable, or we have a totally different item slot table that can hold an item, which I think that's the route we need to go, because we don't want our cursor to be able to be moved on what is currently equipped. We just want to say, if you want to equip something new, put your cursor over it and hit A. Otherwise, your thing that's currently equipped is going to be your item selection. So I don't think we want to do what we've got here, which is render it specifically if it's equipped or not. So, because what equipped really should do, what equipped should do is just move the item into the whatever we define as the equipped slot, and then we'd have to render every item in the equipped slot as well on top of the items in the grid. So I think we go about this a little differently. I think I'm going to get rid of our equipped logic. And let's no longer be equipped, because equipped wasn't actually changing anything other than where it was rendering. So let's give ourselves a table in our inventory class that is only responsible for holding the item that's equipped in the item slot. So we'll call it item slot. It'll be an empty table. Now we can test we can test what we want to happen. Like, we want to be able to say, basically, we have to be able to say update item slot in case it changed, but then also render the thing in the item slot if it's not equal to nil. So we need to be able to say if our item slot at index 1 does not equal nil, that means there's an item in there. Therefore, render the item that's literally in there. So we can test this by saying, by the way, in our init here, we're going to say that we're going to do a table.insert into our self item slot, and we're going to give it an item instantiation with a type of berry, and let's just say 3. So we're saying insert an item, and then we're going to render the item. See, like, we have to do something like once we become equipped. Well, I guess, yeah, it's because we still have to control where we're rendering this thing. It'll render. Yeah, we have to do an update. But the update should be, if we look at the when we update our other item, let's see what that code looks like. Update, we're setting our self X and Y based on what our row and column is that we update it. So we might have like, we could have a function called like equip. We could say something like, okay, let's equip this item. Let's run this function to equip an item, and the equip item takes your X and makes it 20 or whatever. Oh shit. Maybe, yeah, I think it was 20, and then a self Y of our virtual height minus our 16 for the height of our item. So if we run this equip method on our item, we can just change its X and Y, and then when we render it, which we are rendering it if it's not nil, it's going to go ahead and render this stuff at its own X and Y position as well as the quantity. So that might do it. We just have to call this method. So now that we have an item slot, we have an item in the item slot. Now we need to run the method on it. So we'll say self.itemSlot. We want to not update, but equip. And ideally, we don't do this 60 times a second. We only do this upon clicking on it, but we're just trying to see if we can actually get it rendering in the item slot down there at the bottom. So item slot.equip, it's because item slot index 1 is the actual object. There we go. It's a little off. What did we do before we deleted where we rendered an equipped item? I deleted it. I liked where it was. I just forgot where we put it. So the X might be 10. Virtual height, let's just say minus 20 maybe. So the difference here is the berry that we see in our equipped slot is literally there. We're not just rendering it over there, but the item itself, its self X and self Y is literally there, which is better than our old equipped method. So once we get this in the right spot, it'll look better. And then we can just toggle this method upon a press. So like then we would say, okay, well, if A is pressed, let's check if there's any items in the current grid that our cursor's at. And if there is, remove that item from that current grid and place it, equip it, so that it moves down to the item slot. But we'd have to copy whatever's in the item slot that's currently equipped and move it into our cursor slot in our inventory grid, if that makes sense. We just have to swap the things. Okay, geez. Okay. Okay, so we've got a berry. If we wanted to put a bag in there, we can. And equip a bag in there, we can. It's just that, well, yeah, and I guess that makes sense, because now once we hit the button B, we can say, okay, you hit the button B, what item is in your item slot? And if there's nothing in the item slot, we don't do anything. If there's a berry in it, and we have more than one berry, then we drop a berry on the floor, or whatever we want to do. Okay. I'm going to put a bag in there. Okay. Sweet. So now we need to be able to, we're only listening for an A button press, right? Which in our case is a P on keyboard. So if P is pressed, we need to check if there's an item in the current cursor grid. So let's look at our cursor grid and see how we're rendering the current cursor. We have an item cursor of a cursor instantiation. We have a row and a column, which is what we're updating our cursor to know where it's at. So our cursor, okay, I don't like how we do this. I think we want to be able to access, because like due to scope closure, we wouldn't have access to this parameter that's being passed in to update. Well, actually we might. Hold on. Let's see in our inventory when we're updating our cursor. We do have a selected row and selected call. So that is what we need to check. Our current grid, self.grid at self-selected row, self-selected call. That's what we need to see if it needs to be equipped. So what we can do is say, instead of just equipping the thing that's in the item slot, let's not put anything in the item slot just yet. But what we want to do is, for example, let's do the line here. If our love.keyboard, okay. If love.keyboard was pressed P, then we want to be able to say, okay, then if the self.grid at index self.selected row and self.selected call, if the first item that's in there is not equal to nil, meaning there is an item in there, then we want to take the item that's in there and equip it. So we'll say self.selected row self.selected call. I really messed that up. Self.selected. We want to go into the first index because it's not nil, right? There is an item in there. And we want to run equip function on that item. That won't delete it. So once we equip it, we can say, okay, well, also go and delete it. We want a table.remove from our list. And our list is our 2D array. So it's a grid at self.selected row and self.selected column. We don't give it a third array here, but we do give a second argument saying delete the first index of this table. So delete the only item that's in there after you equip the thing that we selected it on. So let's see if this works. If we hit P, if it equips the thing. So we'll go to this berry and try to equip it. So I'm going to hit P, and it looks like it deleted. We have to move it. We don't have this because if we look at this, we're rendering an item slot. So we have to actually insert it into the item slot in order for it to work. So the item's location is probably right, but we're not rendering it because we're not rendering it because we're rendering an item cursor here. We're only rendering the items that are in the grid and the items that are in an item cursor, and right now, item slot rather. So we need to put it in the item slot so that we can render it. So we could do equip there, and then we would say, by the way, take that now equipped item. So we'll say table.insert, and the list we want to give it is our self.item slot. So we're going to say item slot is now going to be, we're going to insert our selected item into the item slot, essentially. So we're going to take the first item in that grid, the one we just said was equipped. Now, equipped doesn't flip a boolean or anything. All it does is literally change the X and Y. So we're going to say, change your X and Y to be the equipped location. Put the actual item that used to be in there in the item slot table, and then go ahead and delete the item that used to be in that grid because it's now in the item slot. And then we're rendering the item slot anyway. So let's see if we can equip it now. Bop, bop, bop. I'm going to hit P. Oh, yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, so that's an issue, right? We're able to delete everything because whenever we hit P, if there's something in there, we're going to equip it, which puts it at the location of our equip slot. And then we're going to insert that. So like, I guess if we really wanted to, we can say, let's just to show it, we can say this item slot is going to get flushed so that we can at least see the new items that are in there, because we're only ever taking out the first index, and when we append a value, it goes to the end. So that's why we only ever saw a berry in there. So let's see if we can at least see different items being equipped. So we'll equip a baggie. Cool, there's a baggie. Let's equip a berry. Cool, there's a berry. Baggie, berry, berry. Cool. So, still not right, but we can start to see how we can equip these things. So one more step here is that it's not that we want to flush this, it's that if there's already an item in there, we need to replace it before we override it. Hey Magnetonics, what's up, dude? How'd your stream go? Yeah, we're working on some inventory today. We can like equip things, which is nice, but you know, they're just overriding each other right now, so we need to be a little more fancy. So if all equip does is move it to the equip location. Nice. Yeah, that's essentially what I'm doing. Just menu navigation, or, you know, UI navigation. Okay, so what we need to do here is... the order of operations is kind of interesting because it's like... if we hit P and there is an item in that grid, we know we need to equip it and we know we need to replace it. So instead of flushing our slot here, let's say if the item slot at index 1 does not equal nil, that means there's an item in the slot, then we need to go ahead and replace it into our... how would we do that? This is the... nice. Yeah. We're making decent progress, I'd say. Better than I kind of thought would happen. But this is kind of interesting. Well, we need to make like a copy. We can say... we need to copy the item that's in our equip slot. So like if there is an item in our equip slot, we can say, okay, item copy, local item copy is gonna get the actual item that is in our item slot. So we're gonna say, okay, well, we're gonna snag that item that's in the slot before we replace it with the thing our cursor is on, which is our selected row, selected call. So if there is a thing in the item slot already, we're going to copy it so that we can overwrite our grid. Let me think this. We got to... this is saying we're going to put what's in our selected thing in the item slot. That will essentially delete the item that was in there, but we have a copy of it. So now that we have a copy of it, we can say, okay, then also table.insert our copy into our current grid so that we essentially just swap them. Okay, so we're going to say we want to swap, we want to insert into the first index of our grid the value of our item copy. Now, item copy is local to this, so we can't quite do this, but maybe if we define it, maybe we say local item copy is... I don't know. I think we can just say, hey, there's a local variable here. This has access to it because it's outside of here. So it's still local to this function, but not this condition. And then we can say, okay, let's insert that item copy into our grid. And then we want to remove... oh, see, that's not right. I guess we would say let's delete. We insert our item into the item slot. We delete the item that used to be in the grid. And then we table.insert the item copy into the grid. Let's try that. So equip, okay, that's okay, that's okay. 107, inventory. Why here? Why did it... You can't update the item, but it's not nil. Okay, we might have to do this after... Let's try to do this after we update the items. And let's just see if that makes a difference. No. Renders a nil value, inventory 125. So we can't render the item because it doesn't exist, but we're only rendering it if it's... Okay, so I don't know what's exactly wrong here. Hey, thanks for checking in, dude. Yeah, have a good night. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. I feel like it has to do with this. Like, let's not remove the item there. Let's just try to insert. Okay, that doesn't work. Okay, if there is an item in our selection, we're going to go ahead and equip that item, which moves its X and Y position. Then we're going to see if... Oh, see, this is wrong. We have to move it into the item slot before... Yeah, we have to move it into the item slot before we do this item copy. So we say, go ahead. Oh, but then it overwrites it. If item slot 1 does not equal nil, we're going to copy it. Yeah, see, we need to copy it no matter what. Okay, so I think we need to copy the item no matter what, but I think the thing is we can't copy... It's tough because we'll crash. If there's no item in the item slot, we can't copy it because we don't have an index to go in and copy. So we're saying we need this item copy to get... I guess we can say only insert the copy item if there is an item in the item slot. So we can say if the item slot at index 1 does not equal nil, like we're doing up there, then go ahead and insert the item copy. Otherwise, don't insert it because we can't insert a nil value into our grid table. So let's see. Okay, that doesn't crash us, but it doesn't do what we want. Okay, so what do we need to do? Let's just try to run the equip method on it, and it doesn't seem to be working because it needs to be inserted into the item slot. So if we have those two things, we equip it, insert it to the item slot, we should at least get them moving. They're not. Insert item slot. Okay. What are we missing? Okay, so that'll place it, but we need to. Okay, I'm not sure what's going wrong, because this is almost there, right? We just need to copy it before we delete it. So maybe we can say, let's go ahead and insert. We know we want to insert any item that's in here into the item slot. We know that. But we know we want to remove the item that used to be in there. So that's all right. It's just that we need to insert right here. Yeah, instead of copy this, yeah, we need to copy the item slot before it goes in there. Shit. Oh, yeah, okay. I think I was on the right track, but it's like if the self.item slot at index 1 does not equal nil, there's an item in there, and we need to copy that item. So we'll say item copy gets assigned whatever the value of the item slot at index 1 is. Okay, we've got it copied. Then we're going to go ahead and delete it. Then we're going to go ahead and replace it. Then we're going to go ahead and remove the item that used to be in there. Then we're going to go ahead and insert the copy into the self.grid at self.selected row, self.selected call. And we want to insert our item copy into that. But we don't want to just insert a nil or an empty table in here. We only want to insert it if our item copy is not still empty. Okay, I mean, it is still going wrong. We clear, yeah, we don't clear this anymore. We don't clear the item slot. Let's see. Oy, okay. We know we want to put... I just don't know if we're... I don't know if we're... Like, we're modifying the items that are in the grid, but I don't know if we are... Yeah, we are updating the item in there. Okay. We're close. Not sure what the next step is. Like, something's getting confused in here in the copy. Because we can equip it fine, and we can... Oh, well, we can't equip the new one. So something's going on when there is an item in there. It's not working right. So if item slot does not equal nil, we do an item copy, but if item slot once there is an item slot in there, it would do this copy. Okay. We do flush the item copy here. Shit, man. It's hard for me to look at this and know what's going on. So it equips the first one fine, because when it goes through, it's going to come in here and say, okay, is the item slot not equal to nil? Well, it is equal to nil, so we're not doing an item copy. So all we're doing is doing this, where we're saying, insert the thing we just clicked on into the item slot and go ahead and remove the thing that was in there. That's all that's happening right now. So it's only messing up when there is an item slot, because it's not copying it and not inserting it back into the original grid. So we do have, ideally we should have a, I don't know if we have to do an index 1 here to insert the item into that specific index. No. So the copy isn't working, so let's just try to copy. I don't know. Oh, that is not doing the right thing, but that's something different that I was not expecting. What is going wrong here? Let's try to do this thing where we say, I don't think the fact that it's local is messed up, but if the item slot does not equal nil, that means there is an item in there. So we need to copy that item. So we're saying go ahead and take the item that's in there at the first index and go ahead and make that item copy. And then if there is an item copy, if we have copied one, then go ahead and insert that where... Oh, and you know what? I think we do need the index 1 here. Yeah, let's try that. Shit. It's not getting written in there. Let's walk it through, man. Okay. If there's an item under our cursor, we're going to move its X and Y position to be at our equipped spot. Now, we should probably... I guess it's okay, because like all that does is move the X and Y of this index 1 of our grid, of our selected grid. And then we're having an item copy table, and we're saying if there is an item in our item slot, which at this point there is not, we only insert into an item slot here. After that, so after one thing is inserted into the item slot, are we doing something weird with the item slot that we're just like... All we do with the item slot is render it if it's not empty. Okay, so that shouldn't be the issue. We're saying go ahead and insert the thing we clicked on. The item we clicked on gets inserted into our item slot table. Then we're going to delete that item we just clicked on. And then if there's an item that we copied, go ahead and insert it into our grid. So I think the insert, it takes in a list and a value. The value is the only item copy we have. Which itself is an item because we're saying item slot index 1 gets item copy. That's literally the item, so we shouldn't need the array there because it's just the item itself, not a table. So maybe we can say this is nil instead of a table copy the item itself, not an item inside a table, and then insert just the item, not the table. Maybe that'll fix our problem. Okay, item copies a nil value. Okay. So item copy is nil, and then we say if item slot... What line did it crash at? What line? 87. Okay, if the item copy does not equal nil, then we're gonna go ahead and insert the item itself. Okay, let's try that. Shit. It's like, it's doing something. What happened there? It was moving something. It wasn't right. So it moved that. Now if we click a berry, it moves the thing back. So it swapped it out, but it didn't equip the berry. And then it doesn't equip anything. Okay. So where exactly did that mess up? Because if we put in a berry first and then click anything but a berry, if there's something in there, it does pull the berry back out. So it does swap the item. It does swap the item copy for... No, it doesn't. It swaps something wrong. It pulls the equipped item into the grid when it should be putting the grid into the equipped item. Well, yeah, it's just not doing the insert into items slot correctly, but it does do it right on the first one. The first one we do seems to work. We can either equip bag or we can equip berry, and both of those work. It's just that when we click another thing, it'll swap the item but not equip the item. So when item slot 1 does not equal nil, we're gonna copy it. Is that right? Let's try it one more time. Let's look at... We can try to piece together what is working and what isn't. The equip to the item slot works. And then when we click this, it doesn't equip. It just pulls the item copy. So the item copy worked. The item copy worked, and this worked. But what didn't work was we didn't insert the correct new item. Okay. Okay, we can't, so like right here, when we go to put the item from our selection into the slot, we can't quite just do that before we have a copy of that item slot that could be not nil. Like if there could be an item equipped in there that we would be overriding by just placing. I guess it also comes down to maybe we go ahead and insert this, and when we insert it, it puts it at the end of the table, I think. I think it appends values to the table. We can check that, but I think it appends. So maybe what we do is we say, go ahead, we equip the thing, and we insert it into our slot. And then we see if we have an item to copy. We see, well, I guess there would be, oh yeah, see, this is wrong. But item slot at 1, shit, yeah. This is wrong. We're close. We're like dancing around it. I don't know what we need to do. Let's just leave us little notes here, like what we're doing, right? So it's like this moves selected item into, move selected item to proper location. That's all that does. And then this will copy item that is equipped. And we know that's working because we're moving an item into the other slot we just click on. So we know the copy is working, but we're not inserting it correctly. So we copy the item that's equipped. That seems to be working. But when we go to insert the item we selected into the item slot, I think this is where we need to clear the item slot here. We need to say item slot gets deleted so that we can insert only one and only the selected item into that item slot. And then we can delete our old item in our grid. And if we have an item that we copied, then we can insert that item back into our grid. So equip that, equip that, equip that, equip that, equip that. Sweet. So this does look to be working. Sweet. This is how I wanted it to be. Like you know, on a Game Boy game, like I didn't want like a click and drag to like, you know, waltz over to the berry, select it, down, 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 equip. Oh, I want a baggie. Up, 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 up. Select. Down, 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 down. Left, left, down. Equip. I just want it. Oh, I want a berry. Boom, I got a berry. Oh, I want a baggie. Got a baggie. So it looks like we can kind of swap these out now. Let's make it a little more interesting. Let's just give it like a couple different values for the items. So let's just say they default to 9. We're going to delete a couple randos. And then we're going to go into a couple of them. Let's just give us... I think it's dot quantity. Let's just give us like 20 berries and we have 9 baggies, just to give it something different. Because I want to make sure that the quantities are copying over, right? So it's like, boom, a 9 baggie, we got it. We want a 20 berry, we got it. We want an 18 berry, we got it. So it does look like we're swapping them. And then, in a way, we do still allow the player to organize their inventory in a sense. Like, if you want the berries up there at the top, you could swap it like that. It's just that I guess we don't really decide. We'd have to decide, like, hey, if you get a berry for the first time, do we just say, put berries in the first empty slot in our inventory? I'm not exactly sure. But we'll have to do something very similar to this, just with our key items. So give us a grid of 3x4 instead of 4x3. And as long as there's a value in there, you know, then we can move to it, and then similarly swap out the item that's in there with whatever spell cast. Okay, that's looking pretty sweet. Starting to look like something usable, so that's cool. We would just need to carry over this stuff into the play state, right? Because right now we don't have an item slot rendering in our play state, but we definitely could. We would just have to pass it. Like, we'd have to, instead of upon an enter press in our pause state, just changing our state, we'd have to pass our either our item slot has to be global so that our play state can have access to it, or we like pass it through the state machine. I guess we would just make it global. I don't exactly know, but at least that's working. Let's see. Wasn't too bad. We did add a berry today, and then we got the inventory switching, so that was a good success. We'll do add berry and inventory swapping. Inventory item swapping. Sweet. And we'll get push. All right. So that's it for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll get some more stuff working. I don't know what we're doing tomorrow, but on Friday, the day after, at 6 p.m. Mountain, I'll be live streaming a pre-recorded interview with a fellow developer. So that's coming out on Friday, and it'll be on YouTube after the fact. But I'll do the 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock Mountain dev stream of my interview, and then I'll be streaming programming game stuff after that. So thanks for hanging, K-Tronics. It was nice talking to you, catching up. Have a good night, dude. We'll raid out to Salto Manga because he's a cool channel friend. He did the artwork you're looking at back there, so I always like to raid him because he's a cool, chill dude making some cool art. So thanks for watching. Have a good night, y'all. I'll catch you tomorrow.